My parents always treated my sister like royalty, while I was always overlooked. But when she found out I had $10 million, dollars, her Thanksgiving meltdown could have won an Oscar. Growing up, I never lacked food or shelter, but affection? That was an endangered species in my household. My name is Vanessa. I'm 38, and I'm sharing my story, not for sympathy, but because someone out there might relate. When I was 8, my world flipped like a bad pancake. My sister Lily was born prematurely. One minute, I was peacefully sleeping. The next, my dad was peeling out of the driveway like a stunt driver, while my Aunt Karen took the overnight shift watching me. Lily was tiny, fragile, and apparently the most important human to ever grace our family tree. Our house turned into a mini hospital. My mom hovered like a paranoid security guard, wiping down every surface with enough disinfectant to make a biohazard team proud. If I so much as sniffled, my mom's reaction was swift. Vanessa, was that a cough? Pack a bag, you're staying at Grandma's. I spent more time at Grandma's than at home, as though I were carrying the plague. In a desperate bid for attention, I became an overachiever. Straight A's, science fairs, debate team, I did it all. One time, I rushed home, clutching my science fair trophy. Mom, look, I won. That's nice, dear. Did you wash your hands? Lily's feeling a bit sniffly. By the time Lily turned 7, she was as healthy as an ox. But my parents were still acting like she was on life support. She quickly realized the power she wielded and milked it for all it was worth. If she wanted something, all she had to do was sigh dramatically, and suddenly, she was too fragile to be denied anything. High school was supposed to be my time to shine. I worked tirelessly, excelling in academics and extracurriculars. My science teacher even told my parents I had a real shot at a scholarship. Right as he was explaining, my mom's phone rang. Lily, at home with the babysitter, was in distress. I can't find my favorite pen for homework, she sobbed. Just like that, my parents rushed home. The scholarship talk? Never revisited. After that, they stopped coming to my school events altogether. It's just easier this way, they reasoned. Lily gets upset when she feels left out. When I won the state debate championship, my trophy mysteriously disappeared into a drawer. Lily doesn't like seeing other people's awards, my mom explained. College was my ticket out. I earned a full-ride scholarship and came home excited to share the news. Lily barely looked up from her phone. Finally, I'm turning your room into a gaming setup. I started counting down the days until I could leave. After graduation, I landed in a middle management role that was about as inspiring as a rerun of a dull sitcom. It paid the bills, no luxury, no frills, but it did grant me a hard-won independence. One day, as I scrolled through endless online distractions, a garish banner flashed before my eyes. Unlock financial freedom today. Ordinarily, I'd swipe past such hyperbole, but that day, something inside me nudged me to click. I signed up for the investment course, and for several months, my dinner options were limited to instant noodles and audacious dreams. The course instructor, Mark, had a knack for turning the arcane world of investing into something as simple as ordering takeout. He explained diversification and risk with a series of quirky analogies that made even the stock market seem like a playground. I started small, dropping a few $100s into overlooked tech ventures, until one scrappy AI startup skyrocketed my modest bet. Not long after, a biotech firm turned my investment into a small fortune. Before I knew it, the returns from my portfolio were outstripping the paltry paycheck I once endured in that tedious office job. The day I realized I no longer needed the drudgery of a 9 to 5 was surreal. I was at my desk, feigning interest in monotonous reports, when a notification from my investment app made my heart skip a beat. One of my stocks had surged, and it was clear that my money was now doing all the heavy lifting. With a newfound sense of liberation, I drafted a resignation letter and stepped into a world where my finances were finally under my control. Yet, despite my growing success, family dinners remained an inescapable ritual, a stage for the perpetual Lily show. At every gathering, the conversation would inevitably shift to Lily. Now enrolled in an elite private university, she was hailed as the golden child, and our parents, burdened by loans to fund her extravagant lifestyle, made sure every discussion underscored her needs. I never told my family about my financial freedom, partly because they never asked, partly because they'd have found a way to make it about Lily. One evening, I overheard Mom and Dad fretting over the mounting bills. In an attempt to help, I set up an automatic monthly transfer of $7,000. For a fleeting moment, Mom even hugged me, a rare display of affection that hinted at hope. But then I caught them in a whispered exchange in the kitchen. "We should redirect some of Vanessa's money to Lily," Mom suggested casually as if discussing the weather. "Absolutely," Dad agreed. "She needs to keep up appearances at school." That conversation was the spark that ignited my resolve. By the time I turned 29, my investments had far surpassed my wildest expectations. I even bought a modest apartment outright, no mortgage, no debt. When Mom called to check in, she assumed I was still paying rent. At our next family gathering, Aunt Jennifer casually asked about my new place, and Mom brushed it off. "Vanessa's just renting a small apartment, but Lily is on track to graduate at the top of her class." At Lily's graduation party, no doubt bankrolled by my generous monthly contributions, she swaggered up to me, diploma in hand, and taunted, "Look, Vanessa, not only did I attend a top university, but I'm already getting offers from the best companies. Unlike you, I won't be stuck in a dead-end job forever." I could have boasted about my booming investments, my fully paid-off apartment, or the joy of checking my portfolio each morning, but I simply raised my glass of wine and said, "Congrats, Lily." A few months later, the reality of her situation began to show. The prestigious companies weren't as enamored with her credentials as she imagined, and student loan bills started piling up. One evening, Mom's dramatic voice rang through the phone. "Vanessa, we need to talk. Lily's loans are really straining us." "How much more do you need?" I asked warily. "Maybe you could raise your monthly contribution to $10,000, she trailed off. I agreed, thinking a few extra thousand wouldn't matter when my bank balance was comfortably in the seven figures. But inside, I was already exhausted. Thanksgiving arrived, and Mom was in a tizzy over the dinner arrangements. I offered to cater the feast, thinking it might finally earn me some gratitude. "Oh, you're such a wonderful daughter," Mom cooed. Lily predictably scowled, ever annoyed by even the slightest acknowledgement of me. Mid-dinner, as Mom proudly recounted how much I contributed to supporting the family, Lily suddenly stormed out and returned brandishing my laptop. "Let's see what Vanessa is really hiding," she sneered, flipping the screen to reveal my open banking app. The room fell silent. Mom's voice trembled. "What does it say?" Lily leaned in, whispering with utter shock as she could not believe her eyes. 10 million. Aunt Jennifer gasped and Mom's face flushed scarlet. "You have $10 million, Vanessa, and you've let us struggle?" I tried to explain. "I send you thousands every month," but Dad roared, "You should be giving us at least $20,000 a month." I couldn't help but let out a bitter laugh. "So now saving money is a crime?" Mom sputtered. "But your sister has loans and we have bills." I cut her off firmly. Yet every dollar I send ends up propping up Lily's extravagant lifestyle. That night, I canceled the automatic transfers. The very next day, when Mom called with a saccharine tone about Thanksgiving, I simply said, "Nope," and hung up. In that moment, I realized that sometimes the best investment isn't in stocks, it's in yourself. Cutting the financial umbilical cord to entitled freeloaders wasn't just smart budgeting, it was the key to reclaiming my peace and independence. If you can relate to this story, subscribe for daily stories like this. Job forever. I could have boasted about my booming investments, my fully paid off apartment, or the joy of checking my portfolio each morning, but I simply raised my glass of wine and said, "Congrats, Lily." A few months later, the reality of her situation began to show. The prestigious companies weren't as enamored with her credentials as she imagined, and student loan bills started piling up. One evening, Mom's dramatic voice rang through the phone. "Vanessa, we need to talk. Lily's loans are really straining us." "How much more do you need?" I asked warily. "Maybe you could raise your monthly contribution to $10,000, she trailed off. I agreed, thinking a few extra thousand wouldn't matter when my bank balance was comfortably in the seven figures, but inside, I was already exhausted. Thanksgiving arrived, and Mom was in a tizzy over the dinner arrangements. I offered to cater the feast, thinking it might finally earn me some gratitude. "Oh, you're such a wonderful daughter," Mom cooed. Lily predictably scowled, ever annoyed by even the slightest acknowledgement of me.